Hey everyone, welcome to video review for issue 214 of the Sonic the Hedgehog comic book. It is right now 2:49 in the morning. The reason I'm doing this review now is because I had a lot to do today. Me and my mom had to take care of a few things. And I would have done this earlier, except, it's summer vacation, and I like to do it a little bit more in privacy, even if it's late at night. But anyway, getting to the review. Overall, I have to say this was a pretty good conclusion to this two-part story with the Wolfpack and the Fidel, and the whole thing with the whole Dark Egg Legion and guest starring Big and everything. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, very unique. Basically, we continue off where the preview pages left us. Basically, we kind of start off with leave off where the preview pages have left us. So, where Sally's basically playing dumb and everything. Well, Sally kind of starts out smart and then realizes that the only way she's going to try to, stall for time is to kind of play dumb towards Drago and kind of feed his ego. So she starts playing dumb, acting like she doesn't know anything about the Dark Egg Legion, that she wishes she knew what legionization means and things like that. So, and it's really humorous right there, and I love this little scene right here with Sally. This little look on Sally's face, this little sly look she has. She knows she's got Drago, wrapped around her pinky, if you will, getting him to kind of talk about everything, about what's going on, kind of reveal the plan. And, that's exactly what Drago does. He kind of reveals his plan, reveals how, after issue 84, how Razorclaw was banished and exiled and disgraced from the Fidel, and that along the way he hooked up with others just like him, who are basically sick of the system, as Drago puts it. And as far as Drago goes, he basically says he was tired of carrying the weight of the Destructics on his back, and because of that he went back to Robotnik, Eggman, for a quick promotion, and despite the fact that him and Eggman had the rough patches, the in and outs in the past, that the good dog knows a good deal when he sees one. And then Sally kind of replies a little bit, oh sure, how can Robotnik not want to pass up on somebody who betrayed his own pack, betrayed his own heritage, betrayed his girlfriend, who was Hershey at the time, believe it or not. That was Drago's girlfriend at the time. And just about everybody else. And she goes on to mention that at the conclusion of that Drago's just as scummy as Robotnik. And Drago basically points out that, hey, I look out for myself, and that's why he's here today. Hey, and Sally just looks at him as just being like another lackey. And then by doing that, by going back to Robotnik, it shows how smart Drago is to go back to somebody he's had a falling out with in the past. But Drago kind of counters her a little bit by saying, oh yeah, I'm plenty smart. I'm the one that basically orchestrated this whole situation with, the Wolfpack and the Fidel, along with the help of Razorclaw, that he was able to come up with this plan to steal the ancient Onyx and put the two clans against each other in a war. But now that Sally is, in the picture, the question now remains, the question now remains with Drago, with Sally now in the picture, is do they set her up as the mastermind of the whole situation and make it look like that, she's been setting up and double-crossing the Wolfpack and the Fidel? Or do they bump her off, in other words, kill her, and thus bring Pneumo Petropolis into the picture and create basically a three-way war. Well, anyway, while this is going on, we still have our confrontation between the wolf packs, Lupe, who's the Grand Chief, and the Queen of the Fidel. And Big, I guess by Sonic's request, is sort of like in between them, trying to keep the two, Lupe and the Queen of the Fidel, away from each other. Well, Sonic tries to think, okay, what's going on? What pieces am I missing here? What is not coming together? What pieces of the puzzle have not fitted into place? And as soon as Lupe basically accuses the Queen, the Fidel Queen, of being savages who abducted her children at one point, and then the Queen kind of fires back by saying, "And you took my warriors captive." Only then does Sonic, as you can probably see there, kind of finally put two and two together, if you will, by saying that's it. One for one, eye for an eye. That's the angle. He finally puts it together like something. There's got to be something that they have to agree upon, that they would, would basically something that they would agree upon, even though they have a dislike for each other. So he goes on to ask the Queen if there was any place that her people and that the wolf pack would not trespass into, and she basically and the Queen replies, well, there's the Echidna ruins that are taboo, and that they will not permit the wolf pack to pass through into, and before she can finish her sentence, Sonic goes over to Lupe and asks Lupe if her and her people have ran into any Robotnik's robots while settling down here as a nation. Now Lupe does say yes, but those that they didn't destroy were chased into a Mysterioso and dealt with by the Fidel. And then Sonic finally, gets the answers he needs, and he asks Lupe to have her guys to stand down and to follow him on his theory here. And that he also does the same with the Queen of the Fidel, but also says that he stakes his life. He will risk and stake his life on this theory he has. So anyway, they head to we get back to Drago and Razor Claw, and Drago is, basically deciding what to do. Do they, make Sally the scapegoat, in other words, the mastermind of this? Do they make her a martyr, in other words, someone that gets killed but is seen as a sign or something like that? Do they make her look like a disgrace to her people? Do they call her to die? He just can't decide, and Drago being Drago says he just can't decide, and then Razorclaw steps in and says, okay, well if that's the case, I've decided for you. Let's kill her. In other words, Razorclaw is about to kill her, and as they kind of argue over, what they should do, that's when, you hear this, so that's when all of a sudden they hear this, "Awoo," kind of deal, and they look out the window, and because Drago knows exactly what that is, and here we see the Fidel and the Wolfpack attacking the Dog Egg Legion. Now Razorclaw thinks at first Sally had somehow signaled them, until Drago points out, no, it was him, Sonic the Hedgehog. So basically we have a battle, and one of the wolves, one of the Dog Egg Legion wolves, is kind of unmasked, if you will, by Laco, and he basically tells her, hey, you shouldn't have dumped me, Lita. In other words, he mistakes Laco for Lita, and if you don't know who Laco is, Laco is right here in the blue, and Lita is in the green. So those are the twins. Now, Lupe does go on to mention that after the de-robotization process, many were accounted for, but many were unaccounted for, or even after they started to settle, because basically, well, I'll get into that when I come back.